think we need one more round of applause. Wave to your families, wave to your friends, yes. Now that's more like it. All right. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the 2022 White Coat Ceremony for the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai in New York City. For those that are visiting here, welcome. Welcome home to those that are local. And to our students, we hope that over the last few weeks you've settled into your new home. My name is Tara Cunningham. I'm the Senior Associate Dean for Student Affairs, and it has been my great pleasure to work alongside your students for the last few weeks as they've oriented themselves to medical school, to this new environment, to their new task. The White Coat Ceremony is an iconic ritual experience for medical schools and medical students. It emphasizes collaboration, compassionate, scientifically excellent care. From the very first few days of medical school, they don't know a whole lot yet, so don't hold them to treating patients, but they're getting it. The Arnold P. Gold Foundation established the White Coat Ceremony in the early 1990s, and this is our 25th year celebrating this remarkable experience. So class, you'll forever be our 25th class in the White Coat Ceremony. Each of my esteemed colleagues here on the podium with me or on the platform will be introduced as the program plays out for the rest of the day. And just a couple of other quick reminders. While we're at the lectern, we will be unmasked, but we will remain masked all other times, and we ask that you join in that same responsibility. We also will like to point you to your program. There's a pamphlet that gives you some familiarity of what your students are experiencing in these next few years with us. We invite you to take a look at that and certainly share in that journey with us and walk alongside our teams as we work our hardest to support your loved ones throughout this journey. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Valerie Parkas, Senior Associate Dean for Admissions and Recruitment at the Icahn School of Medicine.
Thank you, Dr. Cunningham. Hello, entering class of 2022, and I know you're actually the class of 2026, but from admissions, we still think of you that way. So I want to welcome you from the whole admissions team. We are so thrilled to be here with you today and to be with your loved ones, your family, your friends, and of course, the whole huge Sinai family. As this day approaches every year, I think about the White Coat and I think about the meaning of the White Coat, and it really is important, I think, to think about that meaning. And two events in the last couple of weeks have allowed me to sort of think about what I can say to you today that perhaps might be slightly meaningful. I had the pleasure of going to an anniversary party for a dear friend of mine from medical school, my best friend from medical school, as well as a retirement party for someone who was a mentor to me during residency, so an attending. And so those two events, I got to spend time with friends from medical school and friends from residency. And it really made me think and sort of crowdsource, what do all these people now, looking back on their career, sort of think that they would say to people starting this career? And so some crowdsourced recommendations, and take them for what they are, but they're meant with love. First, number one, lean on each other. You all are here together. You have a long road, a wonderful road, a fulfilling road, a challenging road, and you are each other's family rock, right? Advice giver, advice seeker. So lean on each other. If someone is struggling, give them a hand. If you're struggling, ask for help. First piece of advice. Second piece of advice from the trainees that I trained with over the years. Think about your personal mission as you approach this career, right? And keep that solid. Maybe write it down, have it in your desk drawer, because that allows you more fulfillment. The folks that I spoke to at these two events, looking back at their journey, really felt most fulfilled when they were thinking about their personal journey. And then the last thing, and I will leave it at this, is that we have progressed really far. As I spoke to these folks who had trained many years ago, all of us together, it feels sort of hard in 2022. There's a lot going on right now. There's a divisiveness, there is disinformation, there's folks questioning science, but there's also a lot that we have accomplished, right? I spoke to all these folks, and they had accomplished so much. So there's a stubborn optimism that I think that you should embrace. So I'm going to leave you with 3 points. Lean on each other, your mission, stubborn optimism. That's sort of what the white coat maybe means to the people I trained with over these two events, and I'm going to leave it at that. Welcome and thank you, and so much more from so many people over this evening. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Kenneth Davis, Chief Executive Officer, Mount Sinai Health System.
Almost forgot to take off my mask. Welcome, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here with you today. Thank you to the Dean and admissions offices for their hard work to produce this very talented class that I'm confident will make great contributions to our community. The challenges you are facing are dramatically different from the ones my classmates, also at Mount Sinai, but over 50 years ago, we were the second class, and I faced when we were in your seats. And by the way, we were never in your seats because we weren't at Alice Selig Toll. We didn't even have white coats then. Okay, when we were almost putting on our white coats, we didn't feel like we were putting ourselves at risk just to practice medicine. We weren't worried that we would be exposed to a contagious virus that would endanger our lives and those of our loved ones. You're launching your careers in a different world, one shaped by a once-in-a-century pandemic, and you will likely face future pandemics. You're launching your careers in an era in which medical professionals regularly put their health on the line to serve their patients. That takes courage, that takes character. That is why we are fortunate to have you here. It's why this community is fortunate to have you serving it for many years to come. I hope you're also inspired and excited to be a part of medicine at this time of exceptional and extraordinary achievements. Think about this. How incredible that scientists created a COVID-19 vaccine and an antiviral treatment in record time. While the pandemic showed the danger of contagious viruses in the 21st century, the scientific and medical community's response showed the power of science to counteract the danger that was unprecedented. These great threats and these great accomplishments are the hallmarks of the field you're now entering. Some of you chose this path because of these threats and innovations, and each of you made the decision to enter a profession that requires sacrifices. Here at our medical school, you'll learn the skills you need to take on your tasks. You will be joining a community that has been a standard bearer for excellence in medicine for decades. You will learn from professors at the very top of their fields and in state-of-the-art facilities. Some of you will become innovative scientists, others thoughtful researchers, and all of you, hopefully, caring clinicians. And you will build relationships with each other and with your patients that will last a lifetime. By the time you graduate, you will be ready to make possible what can often feel impossible. We need your optimism. We need your creativity. We need your dedication to improving the health and quality of life. We need you on the front lines, and we're grateful you're here. All of us are looking forward to working with you and eager to see you achieve at Mount Sinai and beyond. It's now my pleasure to introduce your dean, who I believe is the longest-running dean in academic medicine, and my close friend for over 40 years, Dennis Charney.
I'm not sure being the longest tenured dean is so great, but I've been having a great time. Class of 2026, family and friends, faculty, members of our boards of trustees, welcome to our annual White Coat ceremony. Some years ago, during a visit to the Museum of Modern Art, I was struck by an unconventional exhibit. It was a canvas. That's all, just a canvas, painted white. I wondered, how does this get into the Museum of Modern Art? One of my grandchildren could have done that. I could have done it. The concept, of course, is tabula rasa, a blank slate. Through our own perspectives, each of us, in our mind's eye, pictures something different on that blank canvas. The 17th century philosopher John Locke suggested that the young mind is void of all character. Knowledge, Locke argued, is acquired through our own experience of the world. So at the beginning of your schooling, each of you was, in a sense, a tabula rasa. Through years of education and personal experience, you have grown to be outstanding, intellectually curious students. Your canvas is filled with exceptional achievements, and your promise is virtually unlimited. That's how you arrived here at Mount Sinai. But now, as first-year students embarking on a career in medicine and science, the white coat you're about to receive represents a new tabula rasa. How will you paint your blank canvas? What will you contribute to the field of medicine? How will you relieve suffering? How will you help to improve human health? How will you make scientific discoveries that could help millions of patients? These are the challenges that we place before you today. And now is the time to begin painting the canvas of your life's work. As part of your base camp experience, you were asked, what does the white coat symbolize to you? Here are a few of your answers. Quote, one student said, the white coat means an opportunity to advocate and care for communities I represent, and to serve as an ally for the communities I have learned from and with. Another one of you said, the white coat symbolizes the American dream, coming to fruition for a family of immigrants that has persevered through discrimination, inequality, and economic barriers for over 20 years. Another one of you said, to me, the white coat serves as a bridge, connecting me to the world of cutting-edge research and clinical practice, to the world of the disadvantaged, of the marginalized, without access to the space of Mount Sinai. Here's another one. My white coat symbolizes sacrifice. Its fabric is woven from the sacrifices my loved ones have made so I can have the freedom, personal liberties, and privileges they did not have. Another student. For me, the white coat is a symbol of perseverance and courage that my family showed when they immigrated to the United States from Mexico in the hope of a better future. And lastly, my white coat symbolizes the humble acceptance of a new responsibility and privilege to uphold the principles of human dignity and scientific truth in the care of all people, indiscriminate of their identity. These are just some of the things the class of 2026 wrote about. All of them are inspiring. Here at Mount Sinai, you will learn how to make the symbolism of the white coat a reality. You will have the opportunity to fulfill your dreams by studying the science and art of healing, while gaining insight into how the practice of medicine can be improved. And that is exactly what we need you to do. We need you to dream big and aim high. We need you to be ambitious, to be innovative, to be dissatisfied with the status quo, because medicine is not all it can and should be. As much as medicine has advanced, there are still far too many questions and too few answers. We need to better understand the mechanism of Alzheimer's disease and find effective therapies which don't exist. We need to be better prepared for the next pandemic, which will come. And we need to advance oncology so we can find better treatments and cures for cancer. These are among the greatest challenges facing humankind. Yes, they are daunting, but these challenges can and must be overcome. Winston Churchill said, "The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty." In short, we need you to make a difference. That is why you are here at Mount Sinai. Here you will be exposed to innovative thinkers and inspiring teachers, scientists and clinicians who are relentless in their pursuit of better treatments. During the first wave of COVID-19, Mount Sinai was the epicenter of the pandemic. Our faculty members courageously stepped forward to the front lines of our hospitals and clinics and in our laboratories, where they made discoveries that resulted in better treatments for COVID-19, working tirelessly to save lives. These heroes are now your teachers, your mentors, and your role models. Mount Sinai's character over many years has been molded by adversity, never more so during the days of the pandemic. But now you are a member of the Mount Sinai family. So you need to know, for us, rising to a challenge is the norm, not the exception. And in many ways, that is the essence of being a great physician. It requires you to continually rise to a challenge. In announcing our nation's ambition to go to the moon, President John F. Kennedy said, "We choose to go not because it's easy, but because it's hard." And you can say the same for becoming a doctor. It's hard to become a doctor and a scientist. You will regularly face challenges that most people never experience. Patients will turn to you in the worst moments of their life. Sometimes there will be too little you can do. Your patients will die, and you will need to console grieving families. You will be expected to stitch up the victims of adversity, both physically and mentally. You will need to make sacrifice for your patients, even when you are facing personal sacrifices. Through it all, you'll be expected to be a pillar of strength. Yes, being a doctor is tough. It's tough, but it is also a privilege to use our knowledge to heal, to demonstrate courage, to show strength, and to grace under pressure. These are gifts unlike anything else in the world. And those of you who become research scientists, you will need to show creativity and insight to come up with new ideas, and the perseverance to see them successfully grown in the lab. You will have to confront skeptics until you have proven your theories true and gain universal acceptance. And some of you will make discoveries that expand scientific knowledge that can help millions of patients. And many of you will save lives. Granted, these moments do not occur as often as we wish, but they do happen. You will see that. They are not a myth. Class of 2026, you have immense potential. So we expect greatness from you. That does not mean perfection, nor does it mean constant success. But do not fear failure. To become a transformative scientist and doctor, you will need to take bold bets, but some of them will fail. Thomas Edison, perhaps the greatest inventor of our nation, understood that the road to success must be paved with failure. although he didn't like to use those words. I have not failed, he said. I have just found 10,000 ways that don't work. So bouncing back from failure and setbacks will be essential to your growth. So I highly recommend that you build capacity for resilience. We will help you. We will help you. A resilient mind will serve you very well in medical school and beyond. So the canvas of your white coat will be far more than a title or a set of grades. Most of you will create on your tabula rasa that will not always be seen. It will be felt. And it is your commitment to your patients and your persistence and your sacrifice and your collaborative spirit and your willingness to serve and lead that will make the difference. So, class of 2026, I know you have the potential. With the education you receive at Mount Sinai, you can and will become the leaders that we expect to improve medicine for humanity. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce your Dean for Medical Education, Dr. David Muller.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to extend my warm personal welcome to family and friends. Thank you for bringing this class to us. We will do our very best by them and look forward to working with you to get them to the finish line. I have the great honor of introducing the 2022 Hans Popper MD PhD keynote speaker for this white coat ceremony, Dr. Victor Santana. Dr. Santana is the director of the Primary Care Scholars Program and is assistant professor of family medicine and community health at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. He completed his medical degree at Albany Medical College and residency in family medicine at Beth Israel Medical Center. As the director of the Primary Care Scholars Program at Icahn, Dr. Santana and the chair of his department collaborated with the Dean of Admissions and other leaders in medical education to create a longitudinal clinical research and advocacy experience for Mount Sinai medical students interested in primary care for underserved communities. Dr. Santana has brought together a diverse group of faculty mentors and developed a comprehensive curriculum that is threaded throughout the students' 4 years of school. These primary care scholars are immersed in patient-centered care, teamwork, health policy, and health disparities, all while rotating through the outstanding clinical practices in the Mount Sinai Health System and the Institute for Family Health. Dr. Santana's dedication to providing mentorship to the next generation of primary care physicians has led to his induction into the Gold Humanism Honor Society as the 2022 faculty recipient of the Leonard Tao Humanism in Medicine Award. Dr. Santana is a physician and humanist who leads by example in shaping medical students into empathetic, devoted, and data-driven providers who extend care beyond the exam room through their research and advocacy. Please help me welcome Dr. Victor Santana.
Thank you, Dr. Muller, Dr. Cunningham, deans, faculty, and staff for inviting me here today. And thank you to the class of 2026 for allowing me to bear witness to the significant milestone in your journey to becoming physicians. I suspect many of you are eager to get your white coats on, so I'll keep my remarks brief. But I also want to take this opportunity to give thanks. Thank you to the Institute for Family Health for trusting me to be the Medical Director of Homeless Services. Thank you to the Department of Medical Education at Mount Sinai for supporting my career as an educator and for allowing me to direct the Primary Care Scholars Program. Thank you to my work family at the Family Health Center of Harlem, and thank you to the homeless team who provides care for people experiencing homelessness and perform minor miracles every day. Thank you to my students for your unwavering idealism and outrage at structural oppression in healthcare that we see every day. Your passion motivates me to do this work. Thank you also to my future students, and this includes all of you, class of 2026, Please consider primary care and family medicine and primary care specialties, and visit the departmental office. We love having students visit us, and you're always welcome. I'm going to make a bold statement here and say that primary care specialties and family medicine are potentially the most intellectually stimulating, most deeply rewarding, and yet most highly underrated specialties that you can choose. So again, please consider primary care. But we, thank you. Yes. I also want to thank my own family, especially my partner who's caring for our 1-year-old right now, without whose support I wouldn't be here. And since these remarks are all about you and the doctors that you're going to become, thank you most of all to your future patients who will honor you with their stories, allow you the privilege of learning medicine, and will entrust you with their lives. And while we're on the subject of giving thanks, class of 2026, this afternoon is all about you, but for a moment, I'd like to ask you to give a round of applause for your families, biological and chosen, whether they're here or not, without whose support you wouldn't be here. So, round of applause. So class of 2026, what's about to happen here today, right? And what is today all about? So in case you didn't know, you're about to put on a white coat. And by the way, your white coats will never be cleaner, never be whiter than they are today. So take a lot of pictures. And as Dr. Cunningham was saying, as far as traditions in medicine go, the white coat ceremony is a relatively new one. Started in 1993 by the Arnold P. Gold Foundation, the ritual we are celebrating today is meant to emphasize compassionate, collaborative, ethically sound, and scientifically excellent care from the very start of medical school. And when you wear your white coats for the first time, you'll begin to benefit from the lifelong privileges being a member of our profession bestows. Simply by wearing the white coat, others might assume you are knowledgeable, caring, and even trustworthy. And wearing the white coat, you might even look different to yourselves. For some, today might be a joyous occasion, the culmination of years of hard work and sacrifice, while for others, the coat may trigger intense anxiety or imposter syndrome. Maybe you're the first in your family to graduate college, to go to medical school. Or maybe your path to medical school is non-traditional and getting here wasn't easy. Or maybe you simply appreciate the weight of responsibility before you. You understand the depth of dysfunction in our unjust healthcare system that you will inherit, and maybe this is overwhelming to you. But whether you're in the camp that feels joyous or anxious right now, or somewhere in between, I want to reassure you that whatever you're feeling right now is valid. And no matter what it took for you to get here, we, your faculty, everyone on this stage, are here to support you and ensure that you succeed in medical school. So lean into the uncertainty ahead, because that openness and humility will make you a better doctor. It's also worth mentioning that we are living in a historic moment. Over 2 years into the greatest public health emergency of our time, with generations-old disparities amplified by the pandemic, it is our patients and communities who occupy marginalized social locations based on race, class, gender, sexuality, ability, and documentation status, to name a few, that will continue to experience disproportionately poor health outcomes. We are also living in a moment when access to a basic healthcare need for people of reproductive age has come under attack, and with it, the right to bodily autonomy that states that decisions about your body are yours alone to make. Add all of that to the ongoing public health crises of gun violence, racism, and climate change, and class of 2026, you will be faced with big questions, and you have your work cut out for you. So in the face of these responsibilities, what does the white coat symbolize? Well, like most things in medicine, it's complicated. Certainly, it symbolizes a transformation from layperson to physician, or more optimistically, to healer. But scratch beneath the surface, and it might also symbolize something very different. Perhaps a subtle elitism, an assumption of intelligence, and definitely educational privilege. It also might, to some, represent hierarchy and deference, right? Did you know that there are short coats for students and longer coats for residents, fellows, and attendings? Going beyond symbols, our coats themselves can cause problems. Study after study has shown that these very coats we wear are fomites and carry pathogens, especially around the shirt sleeves. And we also know that for some of our patients, the very sight of doctors in white coats causes their blood pressure to rise, a condition called white coat syndrome. And yet, despite these problems, the white coat in medicine persists. So why do we let ritual and tradition prevent us from doing what seems like it could be right? I would argue that our profession's investment in the white coat also symbolizes our potential to be defenders of the status quo. But as a profession, it is critical that we reckon with the complex history of science and the origin and advancement of medicine in this country. We must also grapple with the integral role science has played in upholding oppressive systems of power and codifying discrimination in our algorithms, protocols, research, and curriculum. Knowing this history, we can understand how for so many the white coat symbolizes immeasurable pain, violence, and mistrust. So for you, class of 2026, I hope your relationship to the white coat is complicated and wrinkled, because medicine itself is non-binary. Right and wrong get blurry. And there is no such thing as a purely bad or difficult patient, and despite our good intentions as physicians, we have the potential to also cause harm. But also as physicians, we keep learning. We seek help when we need it, and we strive towards altruism always. After all, medicine is a noble profession not because we are perfect, but because we learn from our failures and constantly strive to do what is right. I want to end with a brief story. And trigger warning, this story references caring for patients in the early months of the pandemic. As a family doctor, I'm trained to care for patients from cradle to grave, wherever they are. In the spring of 2020, I was one of several faculty who provided care on the COVID wards. And after weeks of anticipation, my time on service had arrived, and every single one of our patients had COVID. Of course, I had been listening intently to the news about patients and staff falling ill, some dying, and I will be the first to admit that I was scared. So I prepared myself the only way I knew how. I practiced donning and doffing PPE and searched for what scarce literature about COVID existed, first out of China, then Italy, and eventually right here out of Mount Sinai, New York. In those early days of the pandemic, there were just so many more questions than answers. Is surface transmission possible? How effective is PPE? Can it be reused? And will there even be enough? When I sat in your shoes 17 years ago and took the Hippocratic Oath, I never imagined simply doing my job would put me so acutely in harm's way. But when I arrived on the wards, flanked by brave nurses and residents, what struck me more than the closed doors and faceless, fully gowned staff was the loneliness my patients felt and the stark, systematically imposed potential lack of human connection anywhere. Doors were wallpapered with vital signs, entry and exit logs, cleaning logs. Visitors' lounges were completely empty. Our hospital, like most institutions, imposed strict visitor policies, and I couldn't help but wonder if, in the process of protecting ourselves and hoping to contain the virus that was already endemic in our community, whether somehow we were causing incalculable harm to our patients. With no family to advocate for them and many requiring ventilation, unable to advocate for themselves, I wondered if a part of our own humanity was lost in the process. One patient's story sticks with me. Let's call her Cecilia. Cecilia was in her 50s, was loved by her children and her spouse. Prior to meeting Cecilia, she was already on high-flow oxygen, and on top of COVID pneumonia, had developed atrial fibrillation, heart failure, and a myocardial infarction, which you'll learn is a heart attack. Despite initial improvement, her heart continued to fail, followed by her kidneys, and eventually her lungs, filled with fluid, and despite our best efforts, the decision was made to call her family and offer for them to say their goodbyes. Despite Cecilia wanting her children to be there, and her children themselves wanting to be there, with how quickly her condition was changing, we feared her family would not make it to the hospital in time. They also feared they themselves would become infected, and so the family chose to say their goodbyes virtually. This, of course, was not an ideal situation by any means, but by this point in the pandemic, I had unfortunately become used to the ritual of holding a phone as patients and families said their last goodbyes. Holding the phone, I had gained a front seat to families' most intimate moments together. Moments normally shared privately amongst loved ones with the care team outside of the room. Over video, we met spouses, grandchildren, and gained glimpses into our patients' lives that we would otherwise never see. There are a few more powerful or saddening experiences than watching children say goodbye to a dying parent. Some families shared memories, others laughed, some sang, many prayed. Most families encouraged their loved ones to stay strong and keep fighting. Others gave their loved ones permission to rest. Cecilia's children sang songs, said prayers, and said their goodbyes. And within an hour, Cecilia had died. In these moments, I am reminded of the great power we have as physicians. When confronted with COVID, social distancing, and the greatest dehumanizing forces of modern medicine, we as a profession countered with human connection and shared purpose for our patients. In over a decade in medicine, I had never witnessed doctors say, "I love you" to each other at the end of their shifts, or program directors say this to their trainees. But COVID changed all of that. Through the grief and loneliness of quarantine and isolation, we as a profession relearned the power of compassion and connection. So as we place perfectly crisp, perfectly clean white coats around your shoulders, remember that medicine itself is messy and imperfect, and your journey will be wrinkled. But also remember that it is within these imperfections that the meaning of medicine is found. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2026. Please use your privilege to change unjust systems, and most importantly, care for each other and care for yourselves. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Hello, I am Dr. Angela Palermo. I'm the Senior Associate Dean for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at the Icahn School of Medicine and co-director of our Center for Anti-Racism in Practice. It is an honor to be with you all as part of the symbolic moment where you are crossing over into the profession of medicine and start your journey becoming the physician you envisioned yourself to be. My hope is that you will remember that the white coat symbolizes an opportunity to wake up every morning with a purpose to help others, a responsibility to serve the greater community and promote the highest standard of care, and most importantly, the personal significance of your why medicine. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you a very special video presentation on the significance of the white coat.
To me, the white coat symbolizes a commitment to staying informed and involved in advances in translational research in order to ensure that I am able to provide my patients with world-class care. Wearing it is a promise to my patients and a reminder to myself that their treatment will be my first priority, and that every decision will be made based on the most recent, innovative research and scientific discovery available from around the world.
When my family immigrated to Queens, my grandmother worked long hours sewing belts and suspenders in a sweatshop to provide for her children. My white coat signifies the power of hard work and is a reminder of the equitable care I hope to provide to all patients in this incredibly diverse city while honoring their racial, ethnic, and linguistic backgrounds, regardless of their immigration and socioeconomic status.
Receiving the white coat is a real pleasure for myself, for all those who've sacrificed on my behalf, and most importantly, for that little girl inside of me who has always dreamt of this moment. My heroes have always worn white coats, so to me, the white coat is an enormous responsibility, one that will forever compel me to act with kindness, grace, humility, and empathy. It's a responsibility I do not take lightly, and it is one I most definitely welcome.
Coming from Shreveport, Louisiana, my white coat represents the unique opportunity I will have one day to improve the health of communities in my hometown who are too often overlooked. My white coat represents my commitment to always do the right thing, striving to serve patients to the highest of my abilities, irrespective of race, gender, or socioeconomic status. It represents the knowledge I will gain through coursework while also recognizing the limits of medicine. With my white coat on, I will work relentlessly to go beyond the standard of care for the patients I am privileged to serve. And together with my colleagues, we will always find a way.
My white coat embodies the love my family and community have poured into me throughout my life, what's allowed me to get to this point. Moving forward, this white coat will represent a lifelong commitment to compassionate service for individual patients and a mission to improve health in all communities.
To me, the white coat represents the metamorphosis of aspiring student doctors to in the flesh budding professionals who build and refine the most coveted and sacred values of medical doctors. Putting on the white coat means I will advocate and care for my patients to the utmost of my abilities, and I will foster the intrinsic innate practice of medicine while being humane, morally sound, and humble. Wearing the white coat means I will always advocate for others and never stop learning throughout my journey to transformation.
For me, the white coat is a culmination of those that came before me and those that guided me through each step. It represents my family's arrival to the US, the impact my Chinese culture has had on me, and most importantly, the lessons of dedication, hard work, and curiosity that my mother and father instilled in me. It's a reflection of the friends, mentors, professors, co-workers, and loved ones that have become a part of this goal. It's a token of my appreciation for them and a reminder to myself of what can be accomplished. But this white coat also extends beyond my individual story. It symbolizes the unity of the students within this class, and it's a joint formal agreement to ethically use our medical education to engage in and sacrifice for a field that's larger than each of us.
I came to medicine after several years of service in the Marine Corps, inspired by what I saw military doctors and medics do in some pretty challenging circumstances. When things went wrong, they had a unique skill set that allowed them to intervene in a very concrete way. They, more than anyone, had the ability to save lives and correct wrongs, both for US service members and local civilians impacted by senseless violence. To me, this is what the white coat stands for: the ability to intervene, to help those in dire need, and to bear witness to victims in tragic circumstances that unjustly impact marginalized and vulnerable communities across the world.
For me, the white coat is a symbol of the courage and perseverance my family had to immigrate to the US from Mexico in the hope of a better future. My mother, as a recent immigrant and single parent, became a certified nursing assistant to ease her financial struggles. Little did she know that going to work with her would spark my curiosity and passion for medicine and science. Now I am not only on the path to practice medicine, but also to contribute to its advancements as an aspiring physician scientist. I hope my white coat can inspire others to pursue their dreams, because sí se puede.
Now it's time. I am Rainier Soriano. I'm the Senior Associate Dean for Curricular Affairs. It is truly an honor to be a part of this special ceremony. It is a tradition at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai to have the students be coded by their faculty advisor. Therefore, I will call students alphabetically by learning communities and introduce the 10 physicians, their faculty advisors, who will be coding the students. You can refer to and follow along in the learning communities list in your program as I call the students on stage. Please note that I will be reading each student's preferred name, which may differ from that in the program. I kindly ask those of you in the audience, now this is hard, to hold your applause until I have called all the students in each of the learning community group. It is now my pleasure to begin calling up our students. Up first, we have Dr. Kara Baggett, Assistant Professor in the Departments of Psychiatry and Pediatrics and Deputy Medical Director of Mental Health in the Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center. Michelle Adler. Stuti Bansal. Cristina Bañuelos. Ernest Chen. Robert Chen. Alexander Dimitrakakis. Alexander Herman Marcus Frank. Nicole Hirsch. Sky Kaihumani. Katie Lynch. And Jira White. Olivia Cullen. And let's give everyone a round of applause. Next, we have Dr. Theodore Bania, Assistant Professor in the Department of Emergency Medicine and Associate Dean for Human Subjects Research Protection and IRB Chair. Adriana Isabel Baez Berrios. Edward Bull. Adriano Cuadros. Jacob Desmond. It's not my rule. I was just given this. Sofia Paloma Gamboa. Yeah, you can clap. That's fine. It's okay. Yash Shalesh Lahoti. Sanjay Lechaman. Meredith Manson. Tony Owusu. Catherine Phillips. Cindy Wang. And Catherine Yu. Now another round of applause for Dr. Bania's learning community. Next, we have Dr. Caroline Cromwell, Assistant Professor in the Department of Medicine, Division of Hematology and Medical Oncology, and Medical Director of the Thrombosis Services Program for the Mount Sinai Health System. Melissa Bloom. Alexis Engel. Timothy Hung. Sharon Wong. Spencer Johnson. Esther Kim. Martina Lopez May. Maria Maisie Meyer. Aditya Sekar. John Tan. Vongai Tizora. And Ivan Wolanski. It's a round of applause for Dr. Cromwell Swearingen. Next, we have Dr. Monica Dweck, Associate Professor in the Department of Ophthalmology. Fatmata Ba. Daniel Cohen. Jonathan Juazil. John Nandwani. Katrina Nitsch. Carlos Antonio Ortega Rios. Rami Rujub. Michael Saturno. Wamia Siddiqui. Priya Singh. Daniel Wang. And Alicia Yang. And that's Dr. Dweck's group. Next, we have Dr. Sharon Edwards, Associate Professor in the Departments of Pediatrics and Medical Education. In Dr. Edwards' absence, Dr. David Muller will be coding her students. Sebastian Arreviave. Zachary Galati. Shubham Gulati. Bonnie Lerman. Lathan Liu. Farimatam Bai. Jane Milampi. Zachary Milestone. Andrew Min. Neha Mukherjee. Uchechukwu Oko. And Mariana Restrepo. This is Dr. Edwards' group via Dr. Muller. Next, we have Dr. Allison Galt, who is an associate professor in the Departments of Pediatrics, Division of General Pediatrics. We haven't even started yet. Mike Otten. Uma Balashandran. Jaskiran Deensa. Simret Genet. Kayla Victoria Tendawi Helm. Sean Coley. Daniel Kwan. Supriya Makam. Sujay Ratna. Mateo Restrepo Mejia. Diana Ruiz. And Ryan Seacard. And that's Dr. Galt's learning community. Next, we have Dr. Meredith Wepner-Grossman, who is an associate professor in the Department of Pediatrics, Division of General Pediatrics, and medical director at Mount Sinai Pediatrics. Agathe Dupins. Adam Geffner. Daniel Guerra. Sun Myung Wang. Rachel Kasdan. Anaga Kumar. Lion Lee. Daniel Peltitian. Veronica Sadler. Anya Wong. Amina Williams. And Avanish Yendluri. and Dr. Grossman's learning community. Next, we have Dr. Alicia Hurtado, who is an associate professor in the Departments of Psychiatry and Medical Education and the Associate Dean for Medical Student Wellness and Student Affairs. Wasil Ahmed. Rebecca Chen. Bahi Eza. Jessica Fuzalov. Brian Johnson. Barbara Pereira Vera. Graham Sabo. Marina Schechter. Daniela Schill. Devershi Vasa. Tyrone Young. And Ashley Zhu. It's a round of applause for Dr. Alicia Hurtado's group. Next, we have Dr. Craig Katz, who is a clinical professor in the Departments of Psychiatry, Medical Education, and Health Systems Design and Global Health. He's the founder and director of the Mount Sinai's program in global mental health. Maximilian J. Basil. Brandon Block. There is a sleeve right there. Annie Chang. Ethan Alexander Gomez. Charles Larore. Joshua Matthew. Amari Osei. Ji-woo Park. Brittany Lauren Sachs. She's our student too. Saher Siddiqui. Rachel Su. And Sarah Zatt. And that's Dr. Kraft's learning community. Last but not the least, we have Dr. Roberto Posada, who is a professor in the Division of Infectious Diseases of the Department of Pediatrics and professor in the Departments of Medical Education, Health System Design, and Global Health. Denise Alabi. Ashanae Allen. Rodnel Busigo Torres. Mismo. Dana Kavanaugh. Gabriella Sheffitz. Waylon Chu. Chris Connors. Nitya Krishnamurti. Kiva Lee. Noi Meshulami. Jacqueline Slobin. And Alexander Joe. So congratulations, class of 2026. At this time, I ask that you stand as a class. Please turn around and face your loved ones so all present can applaud you in your new white coats. And students, let's applaud the parents, your spouses and significant others, family members, friends, and loved ones who have helped you achieve the goal we all celebrate today. So please take your seats, and I now have the pleasure to present Dr. Lisa Island, Associate Professor, Jack and Lucy Clark, Department of Pediatrics, who will administer the student oath. This will be followed by the faculty pledge, which will be read by Dr. Reena Karani, Director of the Institute of Medical Education and Professor of Medicine, Medical Education, and Geriatrics and Palliative Medicine.
Congratulations, class of 2026. We are now entering into the 11th year of a budding Mount Sinai tradition, asking our first-year medical students to come together to draft and ratify their own student oath. Through this process, our students were given the opportunity to establish, commit to, and share the professional ideals that will govern their time at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai and beyond. During their Arts and Science of Medicine course, groups of students each generated what they held to be their most important ideal as they embark on their medical education and career. Representatives from each of these groups then worked with Dr. Craig Katz to combine these ideals into the oath you are about to hear. I now ask our first-year medical students to stand. Turn around and face your loved ones in the audience. And join me as we recite our student oath. You can find the oath on the last page of your program. Let us begin. With appreciation for the shared position in which we find ourselves, and with gratitude to the people who have supported our journeys, we collectively commit to learn for and from our patients, colleagues, and communities with an open heart and mind, to see patients as our partners and as the sole expert on their individual experiences, to demonstrate humility by recognizing personal and scientific limitations, as well as the past injustices of medicine, to combat present injustices and dismantle systems of oppression, to know our patients, appreciate their identities, and amplify their voices, to leverage our privilege and knowledge to improve access to high-quality, equitable care, to medicine, to lend our expertise to public discourse with integrity, to remain compassionate in the face of stressful days and sleepless nights, to leave medicine better than we found it by continually re-examining ourselves and our institutions. We honor the responsibilities with which we are entrusted. We pledge to hold ourselves and one another accountable to these commitments. Let us hear I was going to say, let us hear a round of applause for the class of 2026. One more. Thank you. You may be seated.
Just as the medical student oath was written and ratified by the class of 2026, our faculty participated in a similar process by which they discussed and submitted what they considered their highest ideals as medical educators. These ideals were then incorporated into the faculty pledge, which we will recite today. I now ask all faculty members of the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai to please stand and join me in the faculty pledge, which is found on page 19 of your program. The mission of the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai is to produce physicians and scientists who are prepared to enter society as informed advocates and activists who are able to advance clinical care and science and promote change. We, the faculty, seek to embody this mission and so pledge the following to you, our students, in our effort to help you become the best possible physicians and your best possible selves, to serve as models for caring, competent, and unbiased care of our patients, to engage you in the joy and privilege of practicing the art and science of medicine and the rewards of learning for life, to uphold the highest standards in scientific and medical research, to inspire you to respect the art and science of medicine, but also to question the status quo, to recognize that our opportunity to teach is also our opportunity to learn, to not just teach, but also nurture, to share of both our craft and ourselves, to demonstrate that self-examination means as much as examinations, to be kind in evaluating you and ourselves, to never lose sight of our wellness and the wellness of all those around us, to have the courage to stand up for the oppressed and vulnerable and against prejudice and racism in all we do, to be aware of our own biases and those around us and strive to eliminate them, to meet you where you are and get you where you want to be. And finally, to never forget as physicians, scientists, and educators what we know as human beings. Thank you, and please be seated.
Thank you, Drs. Island and Karani. At this time, I would like to take a moment to recognize the Alumni Association for their continued efforts in contributing and supporting the White Coat Ceremony each year. Not only does the Alumni Association contribute to the making of the ceremony possible, but also specific alumni continue to sponsor the purchase of the student stethoscopes and their white coats. Please join me in thanking the Alumni Association and its members for their incredible generosity. Now I'd like to ask Dr. Alexis Colvin, Associate Dean for Alumni Affairs, to say a few words regarding the Mount Sinai Alumni Association.
Congratulations on not just starting medical school, but also joining a family of incredible alumni. I hope you take advantage of all of the opportunities to learn from them. For instance, meet your future mentor through our Alumni Connect mentorship program, which pairs alums with current medical students. There are also weekly virtual Alumni Connect small group meetings in which you will get to meet with a diverse range of alums to discuss career paths and benefit from the wisdom of their experience. These sessions are truly invaluable. Before I close, I just want to say how honored I am to be able to welcome you at the beginning of your Icahn School of Medicine journey, and to let you know that I will also be here at the end to welcome you into our alumni community. Congratulations again, and best of luck.
I'm the closer. So I'm going to close. I just want to say first that it's only the middle of September, and I'm willing to bet that every single one of you at some point has been exhausted already. It's a little funny tongue-in-cheek, but people on the stage today set a really high bar for you all. All I want to add to that is the coat fits, and you belong here. And we said that a lot to you all during base camp, and we mean it. You belong here, you will be unbelievable, and we will do everything in our power to make sure you achieve your dreams. So thank you for choosing us. And so finally, I want to thank the staff of the Department of Medical Education, the Office of Student Affairs for their assistance today, and the Mount Sinai Alumni Association for their ongoing support. I do want to ask the staff of the Department of Medical Education and Office of Student Affairs, people are scattered all over the place. If you're standing, then wave. If you aren't standing, then stand, and get a round of applause, because without you, none of this would have been possible. Yes, in the back corner. Woo! And with that, the 25th Annual Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai White Coat ceremony has concluded. Students, please remain seated for the traditional class photo. Guests, we invite you to exit at this time and enjoy the reception in the lobby and the lounge outside the hall. A few things before we end, please be sure to stop by the Alumni Association table while at the reception to pick up your family gift. It is one gift per family. I was told to say that, so clearly is one gift per family. And while you're there, make sure to take a photo with your student. Thank you for being part of today's celebration. Congratulations to all.